women are dressed as proper ladies in the 1860s. They're wearing the appropriate 1860s clothing, hoop skirts, big puffy skirts to puff their skirts out. And if they were dressed up maybe for a ball, their skirts could puff out as much as 2 feet all the way around on each side of them. They literally look like bells. You see, they also have very low shoulders, right there. My shoulders are a lot puffier, and some of the ladies you can see are even puffier. And their hair, turn around so you can see lovely hair, pulled back low, buns down the backs of their heads. So they are very appropriately dressed, and they have much more comfortable collars on. Thank you, ladies. Good job. But I am 30 years in the future from them. This is 1898, and we're going to show you some people dressed fashionably for this time period. We're going to start with Miss Vaughn, Miss Taylor, Miss Moore. These people change names every time we change time periods. You got to remember whoever it is in the 1890s. Mrs. Moore lives in the yellow house at the end of the building, at the end of the street. She always needs help with chores if anyone wants to help her. So I am going to walk. That look lovely. She is wearing what is the latest fashion of ensembles. 2 separate pieces. 1860s, the dresses were almost entirely that. One dress. In the 1890s, we were getting separates. You'll see her shirt, white with brown stripes, is different fabric even from her skirt. That gave her much more options in clothing. She could own 1 or 2 skirts and maybe 3, 4, 5 different shirts. We're starting to mix and match. Ooh. Very exciting. Very exciting. You'll also notice she has slightly shorter sleeves on. Still not tank top, still not short sleeves, but much shorter than my sleeves. They end about the elbow, 3/4 length sleeve. It's a cooler summer option. Yet still considered appropriate for this time period. Like all women in this time period, she has a high neckline, high collars, she has a brooch, pretty jewelry, and lots of women in the 1890s are getting their ears pierced. This was quite controversial. In the 1860s, you did see some women's ears pierced, but more commonly you saw what we would consider clip-ons, except they were screw-ons. They look very similar to that, but the back came together with a little tiny screw that clamps it to your ear. It allowed ladies to wear earrings without the heathen practice of poking holes in your body. Miss Moore, however, has decided to be a more fashionable forward lady and has gone ahead and had the piercings done. She also has on her lovely hat, and she also has on her beautiful pointed-toed, slightly high-heeled shoes with a fashion for women. They made flat shoes. Those tended to be more for working ladies, if you're working in the garden, but even women who were clerks, even women who were at home working, often wore those lovely pointed-toed shoes. Anything else about your outfit you want to point out? All right, thank you. Give it to our big hand. So Miss Moore was dressed as a very lovely, conservative, what we might consider middle-class lady. Nothing about her outfit would have attracted attention, unlike our next woman, Miss Barrington. Miss Barrington is owner of Barrington Bicycles. If you haven't had a chance to go over yet, I do recommend it. Miss Barrington is the adopter of the new wheel, as it was termed. And she is wearing her cycling outfit. She is wearing trousers. Yes, you'll notice they're still very puffy. When she stands still, you could almost just think she was just wearing a slightly shorter skirt. Some of the bicycling outfits even had a second skirt over those to allow for cycling, but to maintain the ladylike quality. Some trousers like those actually had drawstrings, and when she was not cycling, she could undo them at her knee and let them drop to her legs, so it's even less scandalous and revealing. But you'll notice she does not have bare legs showing anywhere. She has tall stockings, come all the way up to her thighs, not just her knees, because we wouldn't want the skin to slip. Her boots are very tall, again to hide her legs. So she is trying to maintain a ladylike look, despite also allowing for She also has the 3/4 length sleeves. And while she has a high collar, it's much lower and more comfortable than these restrictive collars. She is still wearing the fancy hat. She is still wearing earrings. And she holds her hat on with hat pins.
Many hat pins if you're cycling.
Yes. For average wear, one hat pin, you have, I believe, 3?
Yes, 3.
3 in her hat. Keeps her hat on while she's cycling, again maintains her ladylike appearance. Her other accessories, she has clips to her belt, a cycling purse, a small purse that clips on. She can still carry everything she needs to carry with her without the encumbrance of a large bag. And any ladies who'd like to learn, Ms. Barrington is a big proponent of women getting around by themselves on their wheels, and she will happily show you and maybe even sell you one of her luxury bicycles.
And riding lessons Tuesday evening, ladies. Should you not feel comfortable trying to ride a safety bicycle in the company or the prying eyes of men, I offer very private bicycle lessons, free of charge. Just come and sign up with me in the shop.
Thank you, Ms. Barrington. All right, I will talk about my clothes at the end, but so we'll move on to the gentlemen. We're going to start with
Mr. Mendenhall.
Mr. What?
Mendenhall.
Mendenhall. Any of you gentlemen that feel you're getting a little scruffy, he is the owner of the barber shop. Just started and just opened.
Just opened, yeah.
Just opened, yes. Yeah, he is dressed as an average working man would be dressed while he is working. If you go over to the barber shop, you'll see all of that is an apron, and he's ready for his working day. He has on a lovely silk vest, but you'll notice it's only pretty on the front. If you'll turn around, you'll see it's plain on the back. Very common in men's vests. Why waste your money putting pretty on the back? Especially since most of the time men will be wearing jackets. So you rarely, if ever, see a vest that's the same fabric front and back. He's wearing slightly old-fashioned baggy trousers. You'll see that they are long and baggy. Those are a holdover from the 1860s. I'm sure none of you have clothes left over from, 10, 12 years ago, right? Oh wait, we all do. We all do it. Same thing with Mr. Mendenhall. Starting a business, not being a very wealthy man, he certainly isn't going to run out and get rid of perfectly good pants just to be more fashionable. He has on a white shirt, buttoned up, you'll notice a high collar, and he is wearing a tie. The bow tie and the cravat of the 1860s and 70s is going away, and we're moving into a time period of ties very similar to the ties men are wearing today. And he has topped it off with a very conservative small bowler. These bowlers will become popular again into the 1900s, and you think Laurel and Hardy flipping their little bowlers up and down. The difference is his bowler curves on the brim. It's not flat, the brim curves up. That's how you tell the difference between an 1890s bowler and a 1900s bowler. Into the 1900s, they're perfectly flat, whereas these will curl up at the brim. Thank you, sir. Owner of the local funeral parlor. I recommend him if you're looking for that Christmas present for someone who has everything. A personalized coffin.
I've seen a few people here. I better get measurements.
Mr. Grimm is showing us the way a slightly more prosperous business owner would dress. He is wearing a full 3-piece suit. He has on his jacket. He has on a frock coat. And if you'll turn around, do you have pockets in there?
I have one pocket inside, and I have a pocket in my tail.
All right. So, as a businessman, he needs to carry a lot of important papers. This frock coat has an inside breast pocket where he can store things he needs to get to readily. But as a businessman, he might have important papers or large sums of money. To avoid pickpockets and thieves, he has an extra pocket in the tail of his coat. It actually buttons up, allows him to carry things he doesn't want anyone to know he has. Of course, now you all know, so we'll expect you to keep that between us. But pockets and frock coats are very popular. Soldiers' coats sometimes had them in their frock coats. And some uniforms, like the War of 1812, the enlisted men had fake ones. They didn't get real pockets, but they got flaps sewed on that looked like pockets, like the officers. But they didn't actually He also has on a silk vest. His, however, is double-breasted. 2 pockets. Do you ever watch his chain on?
No, I didn't. I watched all I had in my pocket.
Most men carry pocket watches at this time, and the watch chain was meant to come outside to be shown off. Decorative, wealthier men might also have gold or silver chains. Men that didn't have as much money would have some leather or strings. He has a small, is that your pocket watch or your purse?
This is where I take my measurements.
Oh yes, he has his notebook. A lot of men and women would carry small notebooks for writing down notes. You want to get someone's address, information. You can't pull your cell phone out and type it in. So you have it with you. He's also wearing a large top hat. Top hats are definitely more for dress occasions, not everyday wear. Again, as a prosperous businessman, he needs to show this to you. He's carrying his cane, not because he needs it, because it looks rather dashing, don't you think? His pants are slightly more modern. You'll notice they don't bunch quite so much around his ankles, but they're still fairly loose and broad pants. And he has chosen the slightly more old-fashioned and conservative cravat to wear around his neck. Another indicator of his status in the community. Not going to be flashily dressed. Once your business is going to look a little more conservative, a little more family-friendly and old-fashioned for you to do your business comfortably. He also wears gloves. Again, another indicator of a slightly older gentleman and a gentleman of slightly higher status. I said slightly. No rush in your business. You'll get these eventually. All right, thank you, Mr. Grimm. And our last gentleman, a very dashing man about town, Mr. Hall is one of the younger dashing gentlemen here in the village. There have been rumors that in a few years he's considering running for mayor. Next time Mayor Paulin is up for re-election. And Mr. Hall is the very epitome of a fashionable young gentleman. We'll start with his tight pants. Ooh. And he's got skinny jeans rolling something we wore today. The 1890s, his pants are getting much tighter. Sometimes on very fancy clothes, your tuxedos, the suits you wear to balls. They talk about them being so restricted they have a hard time walking. They're so tight. Much tighter around his ankles, around his legs. He too has a coat on, a frock coat, but much shorter. The tails don't hang down past his knees. Do you have pockets in yours?
I do have 1 pocket on the inside and then 2 pockets on the
So
outside.
he has 2 exterior pockets. He has 1 breast pocket. He also has a silk vest, which are those very shiny silver buttons. And he has his fancy silver watch chain hanging out. He has a simple single, it's 1 watch chain, but it doubles over. Very popular in this time period were what are called Prince Albert chains. They were thick gold chains that could be up to over 1 inch in diameter. Queen Victoria's late husband, Prince Albert, wore one. And for some reason in the 1890s, that became very fashionable, even though Albert has been dead for many years. The Prince Albert chain came in fashion. You will notice he is sporting also a full beard. Facial hair was very, very popular in this time period. You'll see full beards, you'll see mustaches. We're starting to curl them. You'll see handlebar mustaches that have wax in them. You will see goatees. You will see one of my favorites, the mutton stache. Starts at your ear, comes down to your chin, goes up, over your lip, back down, and up this way, leaves your chin completely bare. And less popular, I've tried to talk a man in the village for almost a year now, the neck beard. Everything from the chin line down is left to grow. Everything from the jawline up is shaved off. I haven't found the taker yet. I don't think the barber's helping me any. Discouraging, this is the harder part to shave, and we're going to come to him for this part to be shaved. So I think he's trying to discourage the fashionable one. Mr. Hall is wearing a very fashionable hat. Not a western, not a cowboy hat, but it's certainly leaning in that direction. 1890s, of course, is the boom out in California. We've got the wagons, everyone's heading out west. If you're into literature, this is when Laura Ingalls is living actually on the prairie. And so things that are western, the idea of cowboys and cattle drives, this is the time period where that is getting very romanticized. And so some of the western look is working its way back east. Anyone else want to talk about?
Got the covers it.
Oh, he also has a beautiful silk tie. You know the tie tack
You
on?
actually have a tie tack.
And he is very fancy. You'll notice he has a tie tack.
Notice that the tie tack actually matches all the buttons on my
Special order would like that.
You have to stick a bit
You can
here,
also wear
right?
cufflinks that would match your buttons and your tie tacks. Tie tacks are necessary in this time period because the ties are being cut on the grain line, up and down with the silk. That means they will not stay tied. They want to just flip up. Today, you gentlemen don't need tie tacks because your silk ties, everybody know how they're cut now? Which way do your stripes run? They're cut diagonal on the bias. That allows them to stay tied without the tie tack. So in this time period, tie tack, you find your tie like still work its way loose? Yes. Our barber has to continually adjust his tie. Mr. Hall needs to stay a little fancier than that, so he has purchased the tie tack. Good, thank you very much. We talked quite a lot about the outside, but I think we all can agree that the most important part of the look is on the inside. I would like to talk to you about what we wear under there. I'm going to show you my 1890s underwear. So it's going to be even more scandalous than this Barrington. I will let you know that the bottom layer I have on a pink tank top and I have on red boxer shorts, so nothing actually scandalous will be seen. But I'd like to talk about clothing, and especially underwear, because it's the one thing that all humans have in common. Raise your hand if you're wearing underwear. See everybody! Except him, we're not talking about him. Every race, civilization, human beings forever wears some sort of decorative clothing. Might be only a little tiny bit, might be a full outfit for only their eyes show, but we all wear it. And we all use it to tell each other about ourselves. Even if you choose not to care and get up in the morning and throw on wrinkled clothes, you're making the choice to tell me, I don't care. I don't care what you think of me. If you spend 20 hours every night picking out your outfit for the next day, you're telling me you care deeply about what I think about you and your clothing. We also use it to show social status. How many of you had that one thing in high school that you wished your parents would let you buy or wear? The shoes or the mini skirt or the wristband or something that you just needed to make you cooler, right? We all have that we know of. Well, they did the same thing in the 1890s. They did the same thing throughout all of history. I'm sure that at some point you woke up and said, I hate fig leaves, I've got nothing to wear. So I'm going to tell you about it. Let's start with the hat. Just like Miss Barrington talked about, my hat is held on by a large hat pin. The hat pin does not go through your head, it goes through your hair. It goes underneath the hair and holds the hat in place. The hats of the 1890s are not designed at all to shade your face. See how short their brims are. Miss Barrington is slightly bigger, but even that doesn't give her a lot of shade. These by this time period are almost strictly for decoration. They're really not doing very much to even keep our hair very dirty. And the fashion is up. Everything is up in this time period. The bows go up, the feathers go up, up. The neckline, the shoulders go up. We're into the time period of what they call leg of mutton sleeves. And my sleeves are not very puffy, these are average work sleeves. Miss Moore had puffs on her sleeves to give the illusion. Miss Barrington has puffy sleeves. The absolute fashion of this time period, I have seen photographs where the puff came up to the lady's ear. The puff literally stood up that high. To get it that high, they actually made wicker wooden frames you put on your arm first and then put the shirt over it. I've seen them so big they built the wicker frame into the shirt. Gave that big puffy illusion of a big sleeve. All sleeves in this time period though will have some extra puff, even if it's a small amount, on the shoulder. The shoulder seams are also coming up higher. In the 1860s, the shoulder seams tended to be all the way down, almost even with your armpit. The idea in the 1860s was round. A cute little round face, the hair was down, the cute little round skirts. 1890s were up taller, so the shoulders are coming up, the necklines are coming up. And we talked again about the brooch. That little bit of jewelry right at your neck, that was so common to almost be a uniform. You'd swears someone was just handing that out to women when they became girls when they became women. Do you see photographs of women who are all dressed up? Even if it's a standard work dress that they just came out of the field, they try to slap one of these brooches on to sort of dress themselves up. You also notice I'm wearing a belt. Miss Barrington was wearing a belt. The belts are not to hold the skirts up. They stay up by themselves just fine. The skirt is simply for the belt is simply for decoration. My belt is what they call a man-style belt. It's the average buckle like you're all used to. These start being popular in the 1890s. Before that, the buckle was usually hidden. It might be hidden with a little flower, it might be hidden with a bow. Some women even just turned it around so the buckle was on the back. Not because they felt it was too masculine, they thought it ruined the look of the line, the smooth line. My shirt is long-sleeved, high in the neckline, and actually buttons up the back. I don't have to have someone help me take it on and off, but it's helpful. All right, you guys ready? Take the shirt off. All right, brace yourselves. It's going to be so scandalous. Hold on, I'm sweaty. It's stuck. Oh, look, I have another shirt on. Never mind. I want you to know right now, this is as shocking as if you ladies stood up and showed your bras. So I want everyone to give me a big woo! I am officially and totally undressed. I would never, ever be seen in public like this. My skirt is next. The skirts at this time period are straight down. Not exactly an A-line, but pretty close. They're made by having boards. It's kind of hard to see, but there are seams all over, lots of little pieces together. The puffy 1860s skirt are larger pieces that are gathered together, so you get a puff. I don't want a puff. I want a smooth, straight line. It would button or clasp at the side or at the back. All right, you ready? I'm going to take my skirt off. Woo! Ah! Oh, look, I'm still dressed.
That feels good, though.
I might also have a petticoat on. Another skirt. Do you have a petticoat on? Can we see? Can we ask you to show us a petticoat? Woo! A petticoat is what we might call a slip today. Another skirt. What it does is it hides the outline and shape of your legs and helps hold your skirt out. Miss Moore's actually had cording sewn into the bottom. Helps it hold its shape even better. Gives the appropriate look and fashion. I might also have on what's called a chemise, an underdress. This would be the very first layer that goes on. Everything then goes over it, so it acts as a petticoat. I, however, have the most modern, newest form of underwear, a combination. These pants right here, we'll talk about them in a minute. What do I have on next, though, around my waist? Corset. A corset. Who's seen Pirates of the Caribbean? You watched Elizabeth pass out? She's a whip. I can do everything I need to do in a corset. I have plowed a field. I have hoed the garden. I cook on the wood burning stove. I take care of children. I've even nursed a baby once in a corset. You started wearing these as young women about 10, 11, or 12. So how many girls in here are 10, 11, or 10 or older? Wear your corsets, ladies. Your parents should be ashamed. Now, they started very early in these corsets, similar to what I'm going to use for bra, if everyone's okay with that. Training bras. They don't train the person, they train your body. The same idea with a corset. They put them in young to train their bodies. The idea was to get a smooth waist. The absolute supermodel ideal that everyone wanted to be like. Gentlemen, put your thumbs together. Put your middle fingers together. They should go around your wife's waist. Nope, nobody? Nobody? If you read Little House on the Prairie, Ma says before she had her first baby, Pa could do that. The way you do that is if you want a corset every day of your life since you were 11. The corset laces like up the back like a shoe. See the lacing? And then it buttons up the front with metal hooks called a busk. It ties then around my waist. When I pull these strings, My hip bones push down and out, and my organs just squish themselves up or down out of the road. Eventually, all I'm squishing in is muscle and skin. And because this holds me so rigid, watch, I'm slouching. Your muscles atrophy. They go, awesome, someone else is doing my job. They literally quit toning, and they don't have to go away, but they get completely and totally weak. I wore a corset every day for 5 years. It's a job I had. An 1850s living history font. I only wore it 9 to 5. I kept it pretty loosely laced. It took 2 years for my back muscles to get back to where they'd been before. In that short a time period, my back muscles had given up. So I had back spasms, I had back pain. So if I've literally worn one of these every day of my life since I was 11, by this age, I have to wear something. I need the support, and I could get that tiny little waist because there's nothing left to squish but muscle that doesn't have any tone to it. There's a small problem though. What about if I want some babies? It actually causes stomach muscles to rip. So they made special gestational corsets that came down and supported the weight of the baby. So even by the time you're an older woman, you get to your 60s, 70s, 80s, you're not that worried about fashion, but you have to have some support. Something has to hold you up. So that is the reason even by the 1890s, people were opposed to corsets. The term was corsets or coffins. And there were lots of reform dress women who rallied against this. Let's quit being stupid. And do you know what women said? And I'm so pretty. How many of you have been told to quit wearing high heel shoes? How many of you have heard that you should not wear flip-flops because they're bad for your back? How many of you don't care? It was the same thing with the corset. We can look back today and say, well, that's stupid. I wouldn't have worn one. Yes, you would. The only women, I have photographs of women not in corsets, were either women who were very, very poor. They simply couldn't afford one. They simply had never had access to one. I got one picture of a very wealthy woman who is just obese, and she is not wearing a corset. Those women would not have been very respectable in public. Those women were not the women that most of us would have been friends with. They were very, except for the wealthy woman, everyone else was so low class, that's just what you had to do to survive. So, to take the corset off, I only do the front. And I can breathe and everything's swamped. This corset weighs almost 2 pounds. The boning, I got one out here so you can see. This is metal, it's called watch spring boning. It's actually steel loops hooked together. And everywhere there's one of these seams, there's metal boning there. That's what holds me up, and that's what holds its shape. On a really hot day like this, you can hear me creak when I breathe. It gets sweaty, and it gets a little bit rusty, and you creak, 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 creak. You guys should hear me breathe. It's pretty fun. All right. So, I'm as naked now as if I was standing here in bras and panties. Do I look naked? No. Can you see anything except my arms? How many of you have on more less clothes right now than I do? This is my combination. Combination chemise and pantaloons or drawers. The drawers, the pants, became popular during the Civil War when the women wore the great big hoops and dancing. There's no underwear the way we think of it. They'd have been bare under those big skirts. Women didn't like that, so they started wearing these knee-high pantaloons or drawers. Combination just puts the two together. Instead of extra outfit, I have one. This is a chemise and drawers together. It would be my very last layer. I would be completely naked under this. I would have more of this than anything else, because this gets the sweatiest. Right up against my skin, my sweat, my salt, all that stuff gets on this. And my corset goes over this to keep my corset a little drier and cleaner, and then all my clothes over it. Now, it buttons up the front. Let's say, nature calls, and I gotta go to the bathroom. Do you really think I gotta take all of this off so I can go to the bathroom? My drawers are missing one very important part. You guys ready for this? I just moved you if I wasn't wearing the red box shorts. They got nothing in between them. I got boxer shorts on because I like you all very much. When I have to go to the bathroom, I can just literally sit down or squat down and go. Everything separates. I use the bathroom. If it's just number one, I don't even have to wipe. I got extra fabric there. I just stand up and go. Think about that for a minute. If it's number two, I can just open it up, do what I gotta do, close it back up, move on about my day. I don't have to take any of my clothes off. If I'm outside, I'm at a picnic, I'm working in my garden, I don't even have to go to an outhouse or a chamber pot. I can just squat on the ground. My skirt will cover everything up. I can just stand there, I don't even have to go behind a bush.